When you try and work with AI, it's weird. It's like working with a person. Sometimes it forgets what it can do. Sometimes it's nice to you, sometimes it's rude to you. There's a lot of factors about how you talk to it and the context you're in that affect these things. I kind of recommend thinking of it like an intern. It's not a person, but thinking of it like a person and assigning it jobs and giving it feedback and seeing what happens. So that makes it very hard to work with as software. Software does the same thing every time in the same way. It doesn't make mistakes unless it's programmed badly, right? Or there's some sort of other weird error. And AI is bad at those things. It makes mistakes all the time. We call this hallucination or confabulation. It makes up information because it doesn't know what's true and what isn't. It's not very repeatable. It does different things every time you ask it a question. So if you have a software analogy in mind, you're going to get very frustrated with AI because it's going to tell you wrong answers. And you're going to be like, this is garbage. Why do I get wrong answers? But it works really well when you're interacting with like a person, where you're expecting potential mistakes and you're expecting some weirdness. And so that can be a much more fruitful way to think about it. AI is what we call a general purpose technology. That's a once in a generation kind of switch over of a technology that affects everything. So maybe think computers plus internet, maybe before the electrification, maybe before that steam. So this is kind of a big deal, and that means it's going to affect every job in different ways, to different amounts. It's going to affect every person in different ways. So the only way to really figure out how to use it is to use it. Like the general rule of thumb seems to be 10 hours or so of GPT use, and you start to get how it works. So I recommend you use it for everything in your job and see what it's good and bad at. It's going to be bad at a lot of things, frustrate you a lot. Then it'll be kind of miraculously good, and then you'll start to realize, oh, if I approach it a different way, it's better. Like you have to find tasks that you are worth assigning to the AI because you can check them easily, because you're enough of an expert to know if they're right or wrong. Right now, all the major AI systems are built primarily as chatbots. That means I send it something and it's supposed to reply. And because they're built as chatbots, the best way to work with them is conversationally. You actually send them a message, they respond, and you work back and forth. If you try and work it like a program where you try and just type something in and execute that program perfectly, you're going to have less good results than if you work back and forth from it. What I can do is I can then say, look, write me a letter to my landlord complaining about the garbage smell. And I could then say, actually make it more formal, make it less formal, include more examples, insult him directly, write as a rhyming poem, use lots of emoji. Like I'm interacting with the system, I'm giving instructions. The right thing to do is to have everybody possible in your organization using this and have enough freedom and safety to be able to tell you how they're using it. Because otherwise I guarantee in every company that has banned AI, because I've talked to many people, that there are lots of people who just bring their phones to work, doing all the work on their phone and emailing it to themselves. So all you're doing is making a shadow IT spend and pretending it doesn't exist and learning nothing as a result. There's 4 scenarios to what happens with AI, and we worry a lot about scenario 1 and scenario 4, but not enough about 2 and 3. Scenario 1 is everything stays the same as how it is. And I think that's what we kind of are used to mentally. We're not used to fast change. So we're like, okay, AI is here, what do we do with it? But this is not the AI system of the future. It's very unlikely this is the best AI you're ever gonna use. There's better AIs in the future. It's the worst AI you're gonna use. And then everyone's worrying about scenario 4, which is worth worrying about, which is this comes alive and becomes sentient and becomes a machine god that either kills or saves us all. And some very smart people think this is a very big concern. So I think we should take that seriously as a concern. What we're not thinking about enough is scenarios 2 and 3. Scenario 2 is that it gets a little bit better and then sort of evens off. And scenario 3 is it just keeps getting 5 to 10 times better a year. And we're not ready for those places, right? Because right now, whatever you're best at, you're definitely better than the AI. That may not be true if AI keeps getting better. And I think we have to spend a little bit more time thinking about those issues rather than just worrying about the end of the world or nothing happening at all.